We're coming to you live for the Built Ford Tough Studio. Boomer Esiason and Gregg Giannotti. It's Boomer and G on the Fan. Simulcast across the country on CBS Sports Network. And wherever you are in the free Odyssey app. Good Thursday morning. Getting some sort of clarity here when these interviews will be happening for John Harbaugh and Mike McCarthy as Kevin Stefanski spent a couple of days with the New York Giants, a dinner, and then, you came back the next day to see if you still felt the same way, as they had some meetings yesterday as well after a Tuesday night dinner. But what's very interesting, and I heard the guys talking about it on the warm-up show, and it was out there, the second that the report hit that John Harbaugh was waiting for next week to interview for teams, the speculation runs rampant. Is he waiting for a team like the Green Bay Packers to fire Matt LaFleur? Is he waiting for a team like the Buffalo Bills to fire Sean McDermott? And that second that happens, the Giants fall down that list. Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
Yeah, good morning, G. I'm doing well. As a matter of fact, I heard all those reports and everything else like that. I still say, because of who the New York Giants are, what their current state of affairs are, who their players are, especially their young players, a solid offensive line, that, in the historic nature of who the team is, that to me, this seems to be like more of a leverage game than anything else. I still say the New York Giants and John Harbaugh are the number one pairing. And after that, it would be Kevin Stefanski. And I'm sure they had a great meeting with Kevin Stefanski. He's a great guy. He's a great coach. And he's somebody that, like, if you told me that John Harbaugh wanted to go to the Raiders, which I doubt that would be the case because he's not going to want to see his brother twice a year. And his brother came out yesterday and obviously lauding the fact that John is one of the best head coaches he's ever seen, even better than himself, that he'd love to have him go to the NFC.
Yeah.
And maybe there is some truth to what you're talking about and what other people are speculating about. But to me, man, this is a marriage made in heaven if they can consummate it. If they can't, then I would say the Kevin Stefanski part of it is a 95% made marriage in heaven.
All right.
To me, at least those two guys. And again, I told you yesterday, and I'm going to say it again. The New York and if Joe Shane is the one that's deciding this, it really gives me great pause because I'm just saying the Giants are at an inflection point right now for season ticket holders, for sponsorships. You saw half-empty stadiums. You saw stadiums filled with other teams' fans.
Yeah.
And this is why not only is it because of what he has accomplished as a coach, the kind of guy he is as a person. Both of these guys, by the way, are terrific guys. Both John Harbaugh and Kevin Stefanski are terrific guys, and you can't go wrong with either one of them. Now, because John Harbaugh is available, the PR aspect of it gets ramped up because he's a Hall of Fame coach in waiting. So I would like either one of them. I could deal with either one of them. I would be very happy for either one of them. I don't want to discount Mike McCarthy and everything that he's done as a coach.
He might end up as a Giants coach if they're waiting out on Harbaugh and Stefanski likes one of these other jobs and they offer it to him because that other team doesn't think they have a shot at Harbaugh. They may end up with Mike McCarthy because Harbaugh goes somewhere else.
Right, exactly. And I would think, like, when you look at the jobs that are open right now, the Falcons are very interesting because you never know what Arthur Blank could say to one of these coaches. They may give them total control of the whole thing. Because that's what their at least John Harbaugh's resume says to an owner that would be desperate to hire somebody, just like the Giants should be desperate to hire somebody with this resume.
I'm gonna say something to you that by the way, you chewing gum?
Yeah, I'm gonna take it out.
That's a weird one for the air.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry about that.
No apologies. All right. I'm gonna throw something out here at you, and I think at first blush you're gonna think I'm crazy, but when you really think about it, it's not that crazy.
First blush,
you're going to think I'm crazy. John Harbaugh, the next coach of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, no, I heard that too.
And here's why. You think, how in the hell, after winning a Super Bowl, the next year they come back, they make it to the playoffs, how could they fire their coach? Okay, well, let's look back at the history of Howie Roseman
and where John Harbaugh came from.
Well, yeah, but it's forget about where John Harbaugh came from because there's also this whole Cleveland love affair. I don't think he's going to the Browns. This is more about the Philadelphia Eagles and then also having that job immediately become the best job. Like, sorry, Giants, sorry, everybody else. I mean, the Philadelphia Eagles and Howie Roseman, that's the premier spot. They couldn't wait to get Doug Peterson out of there after they won that Super Bowl, and they put Nick Sirianni on the hot seat the year after they made it to the Super Bowl. After they had a down season, they said, we're firing your coordinators. You can't hire them. We're going to hire them. They did hire them. They win the Super Bowl. If they end up losing on Wild Card Weekend, it would not be a surprise to me at all if Howie Roseman said, this guy as head coach has made this team underachieve. And if you think about all the problems and the weirdness that they have had this year, it's not out of the question. But they obviously would have to lose this weekend.
Yeah, I heard all that, and I heard that, those connections and everything. I mean, John Harbaugh then would be stepping into a place that would have immediate expectations to go back to the Super Bowl. I mean, immediate.
If you're John Harbaugh, don't you love that?
What I would love is I would love a young quarterback, a high draft pick, a group of really good, solid young players, and a GM that's willing to listen to me, tell him what I think I need and what I want, especially in free agency and in the draft. I don't know. I'm sure he's got a great relationship with the Philadelphia Eagles because that's where he came from. He was Andy Reid's special teams coach. And I know all of that. And Howie Roseman is the wild card in everything. And he is the preeminent GM in football. We all know that. And he's hit on a number of things. A number of things have happened for him, by the way, that were strokes of luck or just coincidence that have helped him build this franchise.
This might be another stroke of luck for him if you want to look at it that way.
Yeah, I know.
If they underachieve in the playoffs and he's like, well, wait a second. I would not have fired Nick Sirianni for Kevin Stefanski or Mike McCarthy or Jesse Minter or whomever else, one of the Kubiak kids. I'm not firing him for that. But John Harbaugh is available?
I was thinking John Harbaugh. Oh, well, thank you, Allie. It's very nice.
It's very nice, Allie, yes. A little
very
coffee.
Nice. Yes, very nice.
For the big fella.
For the big fella. Big fella needs some coffee.
El Grande needs some.
Norwegiano.
Norwegiano Grande.
Yeah, whatever else.
You were thinking what? John Harbaugh?
Yeah, I just think that I look at this giant helmet here, and I'm like, this is the time. This is the moment. I am not backing off of this. It's got to be one of the two, and I would say it's going to be John Harbaugh.
Oh, listen, don't get me wrong.
I am not backing off of this.
Who's backing off it? I think from the Giants' perspective, 100% it's John Harbaugh. That's the guy that you want. I'm just painting scenarios in which you could miss out on him because we have sat here and talked so much about how this job is the greatest job. Well, there's a chance that after Wild Card Weekend, it's not the best available job any longer.
Well, I still think it's a great job. I really do. And then, I'm thinking that the teams that potentially he could be waiting for, whether it be the Eagles. I mean, you want to step into that mess?
Yes.
I mean, you're going to have to figure out what to do with Jalen Hurts. You're going to have to figure out what to do with A.J. Brown. And you think you're stepping into something that you can just turn a switch on and turn it around.
No. He's not thinking that. John Harbaugh's not thinking I'm going to jump in here and turn on a switch and turn it around.
I don't know.
He loves the challenge. He had the best GM in the game. He's a Northeast guy, goes back to an organization that he loves, a team that's got a great roster, and he's going to say, I'm a winner and I want this challenge. Harbaughs aren't running from tough situations.
That's why. Yeah, but Harbaugh's, when I think of Manning's, Harbaugh's, Shanahan's, Kubiak's, McVay, I mean, these guys are all football lifers. And the Giants are the preeminent team, even though over the last 10 years they haven't been. They are still like the Browns. They are still like the basis of the NFL. The foundation of the NFL is sitting right there in front of you. And you have an opportunity now with a young quarterback and to build this thing up from just think about where they have been the last 10 years. And if he comes in here, which I believe he will, and he turns this thing on a dime, kind of like Vrabel did, kind of like Ben Johnson did. Look at how those coaches are beloved in their respective cities right now.
Oh, listen, I think it's great, and I don't want you to misconstrue anything I'm saying. I want John Harbaugh to be the Giants head coach. I'm just a little bit concerned that the way this is going, that there could be some roadblocks here that we didn't expect right away. That's really all I'm saying. I wouldn't be disappointed if they hired Kevin Stefanski. A little bit disappointed they didn't get John Harbaugh, but I'd still think that was a really good hire for them. I just don't want them to miss out on either one of those two guys. And, we talk about the Giants and the franchise that they are and all these things that you're saying that are right. But, look at the head coaches that they have brought in here in recent memory after Tom Coughlin. It's just been, we're talking about Pat Shurmur and Joe Judge and Ben McAdoo, who I guess history has treated him kindly, and Brian Daboll getting fired in the middle of the season. So it's not as if other coaches had these great resumes, wanted to come here and resuscitate the New York Giants over the last number of years. It's not like this job has been looked at in the community like I got to find a way to get back and make the Giants great again. So I know how we look at it. I hope John Harbaugh looks at it that way. But if one of these franchises, which I think would be stupid, by the way, I think it'd be stupid to fire Nick Sirianni. I think it'd be stupid to fire Sean McDermott. I think it'd be stupid to hire Matt LaFleur, but it happens.
Well, the thing about the Sean McDermott thing could be like what happened to John down in Baltimore.
Yeah, he wasn't there nearly as long, though. Right?
I know that, but it may be a point where they just feel like they just need another voice or something. Who knows? Again, I'm just going to try to be as practical, realistic, and just think of this through like the way that this would look when it comes to a press conference.
Yeah.
For the New York Giants.
Oh, of course. Yeah, well.
And what it would mean to that franchise.
Yeah.
What it would mean to that franchise. And by the way, his resume, I saw somebody talking about this yesterday. I forget who. I would love to give somebody credit for this if I remember who it was, because I was listening to so many people talking about all of these openings and the potential for John Harbaugh to wait for wildcard weekend. Somebody was just, basically saying that, if he doesn't take the Giants job, that would be one of the biggest mistakes he could have ever made. And I forget who it was. I don't know if it was an ex-player or somebody.
Well, regardless. That doesn't matter.
And I believe that, too. I believe, it's a perfect match. Now, if it doesn't work out, it's not the end of the world, because I do think that Kevin Stefanski is another perfect match. He just doesn't have the Super Bowl resume that John has. And John did it with two different, didn't win a Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson, but Lamar won MVPs under his stewardship. And John really didn't have much to do with the offense. He's more of a CEO kind of, special teams guy who really does, impact the entire team. And it sounded to me like the relationship between Lamar and John, once that Lamar article came out in the Baltimore Sun exposing him sleeping in meetings and stuff like that, that was it. So now I think John wants somebody. You got a quarterback here who cares. You got a quarterback here who wants to win. He's got a little flair to him. You got a wide receiver who is going to be one of the best wide receivers in football. You got a left tackle. You got edge rushers. You got everything that you would want to be able to build your team around and turn it around immediately for success. If you go to Philadelphia, you got a ready-built team, and it's ready to go. You may have to step into some drama, whatever that drama is. And I don't know if you're accepting that coaching staff as well, or they're allowing you to bring your coaches with you.
Yeah,
here with the Giants, they're going to let you bring whoever you want.
Yeah, and Howie Roseman, I think, probably would at first, and then if it wasn't working, maybe he'd get involved. But just take away how much the Giants impact our lives here for a second, and try to put yourself in John Harbaugh's shoes and think, if Buffalo, Green Bay, Philadelphia, and the Giants are all open right now in 2026, what job are you taking, number one?
You'd want Josh Allen.
Yeah.
But the problem is, if Josh Allen played for the Giants, it'd be a no-brainer.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is that
And maybe Jackson Dart gets close to what Josh Allen is.
And by the way, an extra couple $1 million to pay John Harbaugh to come and coach the Giants will be well worth it. It'll be well worth it.
Oh, yeah.
It would be. Season tickets would start cranking. Sponsorships would start coming over to MetLife. The Giants would be the hottest team in the offseason. They're not going to do Hard Knocks because he's the first-time head coach with the Giants.
Well, I just did Hard Knocks in season. Hard Knocks.
Right, I know, but what I'm saying is that it would be that kind of, like when the Jets acquired Aaron Rodgers. Remember all the publicity and everything they had to happen around them?
How could we forget?
This would be the same thing, but this is different. This is a head coach that has a resume that's 100 miles long, that speaks for itself, and nobody can ever question. Now, what I have heard out there and there are legitimate questions about collapses in the second half and the fourth quarter, starting with the Buffalo Bills in week 1 this year. Those things are legitimate. I mean, I can understand those questions, but I don't know, man. This just seems to me like it's a match made in heaven. And maybe the agent is saying, hey, look, take some time, think it over, let the Giants go through their process of interviewing all these different players. You know, the coaches are going to, they already interviewed Kafka. They're going to interview Raheem Morris. They've interviewed Kevin Stefanski. They're going to do Mike McCarthy. It sounds to me like whoever it's going to be a guy that has had head coaching experience before. And I don't see Raheem Morris here. I really don't see Mike McCarthy here unless Stefanski and or Harbaugh end up going somewhere else.
Yeah, it's really one of those two, and Harbaugh being the clear number one, and they have to get him. And it's just the timing of it now, though. I really thought by maybe even tomorrow we'd have a clearer picture, but now that John Harbaugh, who's got all the leverage in the world, says, hey, I'm going to wait after wild card weekend. Now,
it was interesting to me.
Yeah.
One of the comments by the players, there was Darius Slayton who said it. And this gives you a real inkling as to what was going over there at the Giants under Brian Daboll and maybe under Mike Kafka. Maybe Mike Kafka tried to be a little bit tougher. That's why he embarrassed Abdul Carter the way he did. I think it was Darius Slayton who said, we need a Tom Coughlin type in here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What does that tell you?
Yeah,
that tells you, again, the players were running the thing. And things were being swept under the rug. John Harbaugh, I don't think is going to be nearly as compromising. You know what I mean? Like he's going to stand up in front of that team, and that team's going to look at him and go, "We got a head coach, man. That's our head coach. That's our leader."
We've been waiting for that guy for both the Jets and Giants for how many hires in a row? I mean, we've really been waiting for him since Tom Coughlin. And I'm throwing the Jets in there, too, because we've talked about them and the doldrums that organization has been in.
The Jets were an inch away from being really good. They were an inch away from being really good, and then snapped Achilles.
Yeah, but all these things that you're talking about with the Giants, the Jets can't attract that type of guy with their organization and the ownership and all of those things where the Giants can. And, there's big moments in franchises' histories, and this might be the difference between them playing and winning a Super Bowl in the next 5 years or not.
Do you remember when the Mets hired Buck Showalter?
Of course.
Coming out of all the doldrums and everything.
Tricky, Dicky, Mickey.
Yeah, I mean, it gave an air of legitimacy to the team.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would say the same thing about Mike Sullivan for the Rangers. It gives an air of legitimacy to a team that brings back a former assistant coach who comes back with Stanley Cup rings. Mm. There's an air of legitimacy to that guy, and you got to give that guy an opportunity to get it the way he wants to get it, like as Mark Messier was saying yesterday. And I see this in the same light. This is like you can't miss with John Harbaugh. You can't. Now, I could say that for every other team out there that's looking for a coach too. But this is a legendary franchise whose owner, unfortunately, is not doing well. And I could see a Harbaugh-Mara marriage. You know what I mean? That is like that name. Those two names go together. They go together, man. I'm telling you. And John can sit around and take a week off and let the Giants go through their process. Maybe the Giants also told him, look, let us get us through the Rooney rules, all these other interviews that we've set up. We want to be able to do that. And then you can come in afterwards and we can decide whether or not we're going to let you leave the building or not.